Luke makes a very clear case for the historicity of what we're preparing to celebrate. That God came in the midst of real time and history. Luke gives us a rundown of who is in charge of all these areas. If he were writing it today, he'd be saying something about during the reign of Pope Francis, during the presidency of Joe Biden, when Mike DeWine was governor of Ohio, and he'd place it in the here and now. Because in the here and now is where we need to experience God, not just 2,000 years ago on the shore of the Jordan River. But let's go back to the Jordan River. What were people seeking? Why were people going to the Jordan River? What had they heard about this John the Baptizer? I can only imagine that so many of the people that went to the Jordan were dissatisfied with the institution of religion of the time. The temple was not fulfilling their needs. It had grown stale. It had grown so ritualized. There seemed to be nothing attracting them in the temple. And so they go to hear John. John who's giving them a sense of hope, a sense of meaning, that indeed something good is coming. The time in which we live is not so much unlike that time when so many people are dissatisfied with the institutions of government, of religion. It's not meeting our needs. Something is lacking. Something's missing. Part of the lead up to the beacons of light that will be announced today at noon. But so will college playhouse. Which means a lot more to me right now. But anyway. In this moment, the Archdiocese of Cincinnati wants to engage in sort of a transformative moment, which was what John was asking for. You've got to be transformed. You've got to change. You've got to turn your thinking toward the one who is coming. Transformation is something that every institution needs over and over again, whether it's the church, whether it's government, whatever. We can never be satisfied with where we are in the present moment, always seeking, how can we do this better? That's what Paul was saying to Timothy. He said to that community, I can see you love each other. My goodness, yes. But do it even better. Do it even more. Go beyond what you're doing now. Keep the transformation going. When the Archdiocese of Cincinnati looks at our local church, one of the things that's rather shocking is that during the last decade, more than 2 households a day were leaving the church. 2.72 to be exact, households less than the day before. Churches are 1/3 full on Sunday. Good news here. We're registering about 2 households a day. That's good, but looking around the Archdiocese, not just our Archdiocese either, but looking at the United States Catholic Church, and not just the Catholic Church, but many institutions of religion are seeing less and less people being engaged by their faith. And so there is a sense of hope that somehow reconfiguring the parishes of the Archdiocese on the principle that somehow this can make us more missionary in our approach and more of an evangelizing church if we combine our resources and try to put those to better work. How that will play out, folks, I have no idea. But we are a people of hope, and I encourage you to remain a people of hope. At noon today, it will be officially announced, as I think all of you have known, that the Beacons of Light families of parishes means that we here at St. Francis and the community at St. Clement and St. Bernard are now a family. So these two Franciscan places have been grouped together. How that will change what we do here, or how it will change St. Clement, I have no idea. But here we are. At least we've been joined together with a parish that has a similar philosophy and a charism to us. That's not going to be the case in some of the families that are being established throughout the diocese. So I feel we're in a good place for this change. It reminds me, too, that the Franciscans of the United States, or at least 6 of the provinces, are in a process of revitalization and also restructuring. The Franciscans in the United States recognize we're a diminishing order. We're losing energy. And so we need to bring our resources together and form a new province, which is going to make changes for the Franciscans in Cincinnati, which is why the building behind us will no longer be needed by the Franciscans, and it's for sale. If anybody's interested in a couple $1 million investment in the building and you got a plan for it, let us know, you know. But things are changing. Things are changing for the purpose, hopefully, of a deeper engagement of the Franciscan friars in our current way of life. Revitalization. If we just restructure, we'll be dead in 10 years. But if we do some revitalization, there's life for us. True also of the synod that Pope Francis has called for. He wants more life in the church, and he knows that the Catholic Church is going to have life. It needs the input of the people of God. How exactly we're going to get that input in there is still something of a mystery. But there will be opportunities for us to try so that Pope Francis can hear our voices, can hear your voices. What do we need as a church to be revitalized? What do we need as a church to be more attractive again? Whether it's at the level of the Archdiocese, the whole church, Franciscans, our own little family now of St. Clement and St. Francis, we have to approach life with hope. And that's what Baruch was giving the people of his day, people who had been in a 70-year exile. He speaks to Jerusalem, meaning all of Israel. Rise up, Jerusalem. Your God has a plan. We have to try to discern what that plan is. Yes, some of the people went down to the River Jordan for kind of a personal metanoia, a personal repentance and forgiveness of sin. And that too is called for from time to time in our lives, to take stock of where we have been and maybe to seek through the sacrament even of reconciliation that change of heart that we need. Whether it's individually, whether it's parish, archdiocese, the whole wide world church. The season of Advent is an excellent opportunity for us to once again open ourselves to the transforming power of God. You try to transform yourself, and I guarantee failure. You try to do it on your own, I try to do it on my own. It's a guarantee for failure. How often have we failed at all kinds of resolutions? Because we tried to do it on our own. Transformation needs to take place always, and it needs to be in consort with God. So as we continue this Advent journey, and we face some of the changes that are coming all the time, but the particular changes from this beacons of light and other experiences, I just encourage us to be people of hope, to voice ourselves as best we can, and seek always what is God's will for us at this moment in time, not at the Jordan, not when Baruch was talking to people in Babylon, but how is God leading us at this particular moment in time? How can we prayerfully discern and respond to the call that is offered to us? We're not just preparing for Christmas. We're preparing for something much further down the road than that. On your to-do list, though, more immediately, there are cookies to be baked, and trees perhaps still to be decorated, and presents to be bought, and gifts to be wrapped. You've got a long to-do list. Add to the to-do list metanoia, transformation. Add that to your to-do list. I'm going to be transformed. Maybe just a little bit this Advent, but add transformation to that list. Try to find ways that individually, collectively, we are listening to God, coming to a new place.